When I made the video, I really disliked Jake Paul. Now, I don't dislike him, I understand him. I want to make something clear, I would still kick the living fuck out of Jake.
Andrew Tate just shredded Jake Paul like a bulldozer plowing through a sandcastle, and honestly, it was a thing of beauty. He called Jake out, making it clear that he's, without a doubt, an absolute jerk.
Because he's allowed himself to become the biggest clown on the internet, and now he's famous, right? Because he's an idiot, but he has a bunch of money, so he gets to...
Tate accused Jake of disrespecting boxing, a sport loved by billions, and dragging its reputation through the mud. But Jake didn't stop there. He had to drag a living legend into his circus act by involving Mike Tyson in his fight. Not only did Jake ruin the event, but he also disrespected Tyson's legacy.
I'm not some washed-up UFC fighter. I'm not smaller than him. I would beat the living shit out of him, and if he wants to fight, I'll fight him any day of the week, and I'll fucking wreck him, and he knows.
And for what? A few more clicks on his Instagram? Andrew isn't having any of it. He directly blamed Jake for the entire mess, calling it an embarrassment to combat sports and a slap in the face to Tyson's legendary career. The worst part? Jake doesn't even have the decency to feel ashamed about it. It's shamelessness at its peak, and Andrew isn't staying silent about it.
However, I do understand what he's doing. I understand that he is very, very smart, even with his marketing angle. I'm just a YouTuber. You're not just a YouTuber. You're a full-grown man with the best coaches in the world who's dedicated his life to learning how to box for years. You know how to box. You're not a complete amateur. You know how to box very well. 3, 4, 5 years of training combat sports. You can box. The guy's not a jackass.
Andrew Tate absolutely tore into Jake Paul on live TV, and honestly, it was long overdue. Jake Paul, the self-proclaimed boxing savior with a questionable fight record of 6 wins and 1 loss, and a fan base that cheers louder for his TikToks than his punches, walks around like he's reinvented the sport. Enter Andrew Tate, 76 professional kickboxing wins, 23 knockouts, and 0 patience for Jake's YouTube boxing circus. If this were a real sport, not Jake's social media playground, he wouldn't even make it past tryouts.
I made a video that called out Jake Paul.
$3 million. You put 3, I put 3. Winner takes all. You know my name, Andrew Tate. I will fight you any day, anytime. Let's fucking go. If I were to fight Jake Paul, I would take it completely seriously as a real fight, and I'd whoop his ass. I'd beat him. Jake. Everyone thinks he's just so beautiful.
Jake's latest stunt, dragging a 58-year-old Mike Tyson out of retirement for a so-called fight, is truly something else. Seriously, who does that? Tyson is a legend, a man who's earned his place in the Boxing Hall of Fame and has earned his time in retirement. But Jake thought it'd be fun to slap his name on a pay-per-view event and call it a fight. Andrew Tate didn't hold back, calling it for what it is, a joke, and not a funny one. This isn't boxing, it's just a content creator's ego trip, and Tate is here to put an end to it.
It's a content creator's ego trip, and Tate is here to put an end to it.
He is not just a YouTuber. He is a young man training with Canelo and Ryan Garcia.
When I made the video, I really disliked Jake Paul. Now, I don't dislike him, I understand.
Tate, a guy who's faced elite athletes for over a decade, called out Jake for padding his record with opponents who either shouldn't be in the ring or are just collecting retirement checks. Let's recap Jake's greatest hits, shall we? A YouTuber, a retired basketball player, and a lineup of former MMA fighters whose boxing skills are about as sharp as a butter knife. Oh, and let's not forget the Mike Tyson fiasco. If Jake spent half as much time training as he does choosing his opponents, maybe we'd actually respect him, but here we are.
Challenged him because he is a very fortunate young man. And he's fortunate because he's extremely rich, because he's allowed himself to become the biggest clown on the internet, and now he's famous, right? Because he's an idiot. But he has a bunch of money, so he gets to...
When Tate called Jake a clown, it wasn't just trash talk, it was a fact. Jake Paul is the guy who shows up to a costume party in a suit and calls himself James Bond. He's playing dress up, and it's painfully obvious. Tate's challenge to Jake was simple: stop hiding behind gimmicks, step into the ring with a real fighter, and show us if you've got more than Instagram captions. Tate has spent years perfecting his craft, fighting opponents who can actually punch back, while Jake's been busy promoting himself on social media and flexing on TikTok. He's the guy who skips practice but still wants to be team captain. It's embarrassing, really. If these two ever step into the ring, Tate won't just win, he'll dismantle Jake in front of his own fanbase, and honestly, it'll be the reality check Jake's been avoiding.
but I'd still whoop his ass. but I would whoop his ass. But he wouldn't take a fight against me because when he loses, I'm not nearly on his level of fame, right? So like he lost to who? Whereas if he loses to Conor McGregor, it's no big deal. Well, he lost to Conor McGregor, who cares, right? That's what it's about. But yeah,
It's still a win for him.
Let's talk about Tyson fighting one more time because this deserves a special level of roasting. Jake fighting Mike Tyson at this stage of his life is like challenging a retired Olympian to a sprint and calling it a fair race. It's disrespectful, desperate, and exactly what we've come to expect from Jake Paul. Tate didn't hold back on this, and neither should we. If you're fighting someone 31 years older than you, it's not a competition, it's elder abuse. Andrew might not, but Jake would, because he's completely void of both humanity and brain cells on paper. Jake and Tate might seem evenly matched, both are over 6 feet tall and around 190 to 200 pounds, but here's the thing, experience and skill aren't written on paper, and that's where Jake doesn't stand a chance. Tate's been fighting for over a decade, while Jake's been boxing for maybe 4 years, most of which has been spent figuring out how to trend his next fight on Twitter. The guy's a walking brand deal, not a boxer.
I am ready. Come on. Fight. Hey. Let's go. Fight. Hey. Fight. Hey. Go. Fight. Hey. Hey. Work. Hey. Work. Hey. Work. Hey. Work. Work. Hey. Work.
Andrew Tate has always made it clear that Mike Tyson is more than just a name in the boxing world, he's a living legend, an icon who helped shape the sport. Tate respects Tyson the way fighters should respect one another, with honor, not opportunism. This isn't a PR stunt or a hashtag moment for Tate. He openly calls Tyson one of the greatest, and unlike Jake Paul, Tate would never drag Tyson into some sham of a fight just to boost his own social media following. That's because Tate values legacy, while Jake values clicks.
Andrew, fighter, legitimate, badass motherfucker, strong mentality. I'm sorry, Tristan Tate is a weak link.
I say let's run
He got a bad shoulder. He's shaped like a gingerbread man. I don't want no beef, but that's delusion.
PFO will set this up.
A MMA double tag team match.
10 million for everybody.
You might have a fight. You might.
Let's talk about Jake for a moment, the guy who thought fighting a 58-year-old Mike Tyson was a smart career move. Fighting is a strong word, though. Exploiting is more accurate. Jake didn't see Tyson as a man who's earned his rest, he saw him as a shortcut to stay in the headlines. And the worst part? Jake genuinely believed this would make him look like a real boxer. Andrew Tate, on the other hand, sees Tyson as someone whose legacy should be respected and preserved, not paraded around for a quick cash grab. Tate didn't hold back, calling Jake out for what this fight really was, a desperate attempt to stay relevant. And honestly, he's spot on. Even Tyson, who's too classy to openly roast Jake, has hinted at the huge difference between figures like Tate and Jake. Tyson respects people like Tate because, like him, they've earned their influence. They've put in the work, taken the hits, and emerged as real fighters. Jake Paul? His antics probably make Tyson roll his eyes so hard they're practically doing laps. The difference is clear, Tate operates with dignity, while Jake operates like a walking billboard for his next viral moment.
Two brothers, one cage. Jake Logan, you Tristan. Who comes out alive?
You know what? I'm trying so hard to not start internet beefs. I'm really trying not to.
You could say Jake and Logan, man.
Bro,
don't worry about it.
No, I can't lie. Bro, I'm going through life. I'm trying to live peaceful now. I've got Fed agents in my house. Matrix is after me. I'm just trying to live peaceful. But of course, I have absolute faith in myself and my brother, and I know what we've been through.
Here's the thing, respect is everything in combat sports. It's what separates the legends from the frauds. Tate's respect for Tyson isn't just words, it's the kind of honor that comes from understanding the grind, the sacrifices, and the legacy of a true fighter. Jake Paul, on the other hand, wouldn't know respect if it hit him in the face with a boxing glove. His entire career is built on hand-picking opponents who either don't box for a living or are past their prime. It's not just embarrassing, it's insulting to the sport and to the athletes who take it seriously. The public's reaction to Jake's stunt was harsh, and rightfully so. Fans and analysts saw straight through it. Fighting Tyson at 58 wasn't a bold move, it was a cash grab, pure and simple. People were outraged, not just at the disrespect toward Tyson, but at Jake's audacity to think this would somehow earn him respect in the boxing world. The combat sports community is fed up with the smoke and mirrors, and it's practically begging Andrew Tate to step in and give Jake the reality check he's been avoiding. Let's not pretend Jake Paul doesn't know exactly what he's doing. He's carefully avoided real fighters for years, curating opponents to build a fake legacy. But Andrew Tate isn't some retired MMA guy looking for a payday. He's a former kickboxing world champion with 76 wins and the kind of experience Jake can only dream of. If these two ever step into the ring, it won't be a fight, it will be a dismantling. Tate will shred through Jake like a buzzsaw through cardboard, and everyone knows it, including Jake. The media's been having a field day with the possibility of this fight, and the internet is buzzing with memes, debates, and predictions. Social media is flooded with people urging Tate to shut Jake down once and for all. For Tate, it's a chance to show the world what a real fighter looks like. For Jake, it's a chance to prove he's more than just a glorified YouTuber, but let's be real, he's not.